Okay, I want to do one of those bit of a harsh, honest take, which will... I don't know if this will ramificate any kind of problems when it comes to Imprint and their reception of me as a collector, as a purchaser of their releases. But I want to be a bit critical, because fuck it, you know, sometimes you just kind of gotta be, and given how they don't actually send me any products for free, even though I know people who have contacted them, and I've contacted them, but it's never going to happen, so, fuck it, I can be more honest about them because I'm not getting fed. So, let's talk about some of their newest, more expensive releases and the general criticisms that I've been seeing of them and the realistic, why is this happening? They've recently just announced their latest big, gigantic individual set for Life Force, which I assume all the pictures are going to be blurred because obviously there are titties on them. It is Life Force, after all, the infamous Tobe Hooper canon film from the, late 80s? 85. Mid-80s. It's not a coincidence that I'm wearing a Texas Chainsaw shirt. I just threw it on. So, this is a nice, release that Australia is finally getting, a proper release of Life Force. We'd previously had the Cinema Cult release, which was a very shitty DVD upscale onto a Blu-ray, and I don't even think it was the international... I don't know what version it was. I think it was the shortest one, but either way, I've gone from that to the Arrow Blu-ray to the Arrow 4K. So I already have the latest Arrow UHD that I imported for, I would say, roughly a quarter the price of this release, because this release is Australian dollars $189.95 on sale. They always do that. They're like, oh, it's on sale. Everything's on sale on their website, technically. But this is a limited edition 4K Blu-ray hardbox, holographic hardbox. As you see in the image there, it comes with a poster, which I believe is a day bill from the original poster. There's a double-sided poster with a Life Force and Space Vampires one. It's a big box, much like the Never-Ending Story set. Another one that was quite a price. What else does it come with? So, yeah, like a holographic set, all that bullshit. Reproduction of the original 1985 press kit, reproduction of the original 1985 lobby cards, the Australian day bill, a reprint of the script. Okay, that's not bad. As someone who likes scripts, that's not bad. 3D lenticular hard case, housing all 4 discs, a full-color matte laminated 27-inch by 40-inch folded print of the original Life Force poster with double-sided printing of the alternative title Space Vampires. And again, 4K of the international cut, 4K of the theatrical cut, Blu-ray of the international cut, and Blu-ray of the theatrical cut. Is there anything new in terms of special features that you can't get on any other release? Well, they don't stipulate anything as new, so my answer there would be no. I imagine if you have either... I think there might have been a Scream Factory release of this, of Life Force, but if you got the Scream Factory version in the US or you got the Arrow Video version in the UK, you're basically getting the same thing here. I, like I mentioned, have the Arrow version because I was able to get it, I think, from Outrun in the end, but I got it after it had gone out of print, like the limited edition version. So I don't need to get this version, and I won't be, because again, it's almost $200, and I'm not a gigantic fan of the film enough to get it on a double dip on a 4K for such a high price. And the thing is, I don't know why it's such a high price. Like, do we need it to be, like... Okay, there's going to be a couple of these. You got this, you got, announced Dune, which has, like, a sandy lenticular, which is extreme. 4-disc set comes with a comic book as well. There's a reprint of the original comic book series, a 60-page book, hardcover booklet with photographs, original production material, 3D lenticular, all kinds of stuff. 4K for the theatrical cut, Blu-ray of theatrical cut, extended TV version on Blu-ray, documentary, which is The Sleeper Must Awaken, which wasn't released on the Arrow Video version, and then a bunch of other special features which were on the Arrow Video version. So, I had actually, earlier this year, bought they had a buy one get one free at JB Hi-Fi, and I bought the original version of Dune that they had released with a lenticular because it came with the extended TV cut and the Sleeper Must Awaken documentary. I already had everything else. I had the UHD set from Arrow, but the UHD disc doesn't actually work properly, but doesn't really matter. And to my knowledge, it's the same 4K scan from the Arrow disc onto what the Blu-ray disc was at the time. And now they've got this brand new 4K disc, which they haven't mastered it themselves, or at least they don't stipulate as such. So for, again, $199.95, you're getting everything that was already in the previous release, at least from Arrow, but now with a Sandy lenticular and a comic book. So that's nice. I mean, I guess there is the 4K of the... Actually, is it even... No, the 4K... The TV cut isn't even on 4K. It's just the standard version. So, there's that. That's something. Wolf Creek is getting another fucking release on 4K. $110, which I have their previous release, which was already the special edition before they sold out of that, and then did a standard slipcover version. I still haven't even watched it, but if they were going to do this release, which I would have been happy to have bought, it would have been nice if they had have done it with the second film as well. Because you get in the 4K of the first film with its unrated cut, a Blu-ray, and an extra Blu-ray for special features. Which is nice, but again, I would have preferred that you got both films. 4K of the unrated cut, Blu-ray of the unrated cut, Blu-ray of the theatrical cut. So, yeah, I already have the Blu-ray of the unrated cut and the theatrical cut in the previous set that they had already released. And again, there's no new special features or anything in there, just a UHD. Again, it's nice to have Australian cinema, preserved on the big screen. On the small screen, I should say, actually. The Keep, they finally announced The Keep. This is about a month ago, after teasing it after Vinegar Syndrome had their 4K come out, because everyone was going pedantic for that, and Imprint was like, we're doing one as well. 6 months later, they announced what it is. They showcased this big Goliath of a set, and to be fair, again, looks pretty, but for $200, it's got a cross replica, which, sure, I guess, I know it's a cult film, but I don't think a lot of the cult audience are gonna buy it for a fucking replica. Great artwork, must admit. There's a few new special features, but for the most part, there's not too much to go home about. A folded poster, a 5-issue comic book series, again a reproduction of lobby cards and posters, a hard-page book with new essays, a reprint of the first draft. Again, I like that they're doing scripts. That's nice. As someone who, again, likes reading scripts of movies, nice, but I'm still not going to spend $200 on it. It does come with the worldwide debut of a World War II fairy tale, The Making of Michael Mann's The Keep, which is, again, nice, and the soundtrack by Tangerine Dream. That's a lot more stuff that I'd prefer to have gotten over the Vinegar Syndrome version, and maybe one day I will buy it. But probably not, because it's $200. But again, the 4K disc, which is only the theatrical cut because there's no extra long cut, doesn't exist, never will. And this is a film that I was told by the guy who runs Imprint that it will never have a Blu-ray release, at least probably not until Michael Mann dies. And last time I checked, he's still alive, and yet this has got not one but 2 4Ks. So it's nice that they're doing the 4K, the Imprint are doing it. They had the only DVD that existed for like the longest time, and then Vinegar Syndrome has a 4K, and obviously Imprint's probably gotten the same scan, the same transfer. So that's still good. 4 audio commentaries, all brand new, which is, again, good. This one's definitely the best bang for your buck in terms of giving you a lot more stuff. And then all the classic... there's one new video essay, and the rest of it's a bunch of entities and stuff that were probably already on the Vinegar Syndrome release. So there's at least a lot of good new stuff, for a 4-disc set with a hardback booklet. So for, $200, it's a lot. And, of course, last but not least, you have the infamous Neverending Story set that they had released, which was, there's only 139 copies left, oh my god, and that's $250. And that's the, of course, mega set with the giant booklet, the lenticular 4K. That's like a 5-disc set as well, with a double 4K, double Blu-ray. And they had recently announced a standard version. Technically, it's a steelbook version for $120, which is a 3-disc set. US cut on 4K, US cut on Blu-ray, extended German cut on Blu-ray, but not on 4K. And yeah, so that's annoying. Because it's like, the steelbook is nice, it's good artwork to it, but I have no interest in buying that. At least not anytime soon. So my main criticism, and a lot of people's main criticism I've been seeing of this, is the fact that there's no comparative standard release. Like, Imprint is banking on this big Goliath set thing. And to be fair, I think they have a good reason for doing it, because the Neverending Story set sold really well. Just in general, like, most of their big sets sell decently, but they don't rely on their big sets to sell, but it's the hope that they do that this is the collector market stuff. And all these sets are collector market stuff. That's the props you can give to it. Like, the collectors who really love these films are going to want to spend top dollar to get these releases. You get a collection of discs, a fuck ton of special features, 4K scans, UHD discs, potentially extra props like with the Keep, scripts, storyboards, art cards, booklets, essays, all kinds of stuff. Like, this is gargantuan level stuff for really nice releases of films for very expensive prices. $200 for one film versus nothing. There's no comparison a lot of the time. There's no standard releases. And one person I saw talking about this on Reddit in particular, when they had announced their Life Force set, was Life Force was one of those films where you could get a different version from the US or from the UK. Most of these other films you couldn't get unless you got a German version, which the German version usually had everything that was available, including, like, fan edits and stuff, because I guess they have no copyright issues over in Germany or some shit. It's kind of crazy. But there's the thing with Imprint, which is in contrast to Umbrella, the other main leading boutique seller for Blu-rays in Australia, is that Umbrella do both. They do the limited edition big box set for, $75 to $100, which is feasible. That already, in my mind, is a lot, but you get what you get in the standard version, because they do a standard release. I'm going to have 2 examples. These are for their standard versions of the limited edition, say, like Irresistible and stuff like that. I'm trying to think of one that I've got on the shelf right now. Tank Girl, where you'll get that for $75 to $100 Australian dollars, and it'll come with a slipcover case, which is already, part of the limited number, whatever, with the disc and art cards, whatever, and a poster. That stuff will already be, at least the case and the slipcover will already be the standard version, which will be half the price usually. They're like $30 to $45 depending on if it's 4K or not. Some 4Ks are $60 standard version, like the Raid, for example. And the Raid's limited edition set was like $100, but that also came with like a comic book and a bunch of other stuff. So it's not like the extra $40 isn't completely wasted. You get a bunch of extra collector stuff, but again, it's for the collectors. If those who really love the film and want to get that extra goodies, buy this extra version. And they go out of their way to do some really nice sets, all in hard case or in fluffy cases, like that one about the Yetis. What are Yetis or Bigfoots? Big Feets. There you go. I can't remember what the movie was called. I have a standard Blu-ray of that. But again, standard Blu-ray of that was like $27 in contrast to like $75 to $100 to get the fluffy set. And that's kind of the thing with Umbrella, where even if they have really extreme expensive sets like the Mario set and Caligula, which were like 150 Australian dollars, the amount of stuff you got in that, as well as Caligula was several discs, including several 4Ks with several cuts of the movie. It was an insane box set, booklets and everything galore. It's a gorgeous set. And same as the Mario one, which they ended up redoing as a slightly downgraded version that didn't come with like a film cell and some stickers and stuff for the same price, which is amusing to me because obviously I was going to order that and ended up getting the limited edition one because they still had it when I got it at Supernova like a year or 2 ago. And these are still like cult films or stuff, like, who knows what the audience is like for some of these films. Some of them, Sasquatch Sunset, that's what it's called. Some of these films do have great audiences and some of them don't. Some of them are brand new films, like, again, Sasquatch Sunset. But then you get Super Mario, which is a cult film, much maligned by most people, but has had a vast reappreciation over the past couple of years, especially since Umbrella's been doing Blu-ray releases of it, from a standard one to a 4K restoration to the 4K UHD. And again, you can get those as standard releases, just standard slipcover sets, or eventually the slipcover will sell out, but it'll still be the same price, so usually it's not bad to get it with a slip, because, you know, more artwork. I like that. But it can depend on the person. But Imprint doesn't do that. Imprint don't do standard releases for their sets. The only ones you'll get of an equivalent with that would be either A, the limited edition sells out, and hence they reproduce it in a smaller, cheaper version. This could be like, they had a Ray Harryhausen set which was in a hard box that eventually sold out, so they did a smaller one in just a standard case, 2 standard cases with a cardboard outer sleeve, which ironically was already reprinted from like a couple years earlier, which was already 2 standard versions, which was already reprinted from several versions where they had the same set of 6 films just divided individually, so you could get each film individually, because that's how they released it. Then they did a box set, then they did a big box set, then they did a small box set, then they did another small box set. Now they're re-releasing them all individually for like $40 to $50 with lenticulars like Jason the Argonauts and stuff like that. It's like, holy shit, you're not even getting anything new out of this. Like, if you buy any of their older sets, which are still available either on their website or on eBay or whatnot, you get exactly what's on these discs, just without the art cards and the lenticular, which is insane that people are happy to buy the newer stuff. Like, if you're brand new to buying these and you really want just those particular films, then great, but for more bang for your buck, you can get more films for less price. And they're the exact same fucking transfers and everything, same disc artwork, just in a collage set, and they're all Harryhausen films anyway. I know, I've bought it 2 times. 3, I bought the individual ones, I bought a big collector set, and I bought another collector set which I gave to a friend for their birthday. Well, I bought it for my friend for his birthday. So, it's a headache when it comes to that, but that's also something that Imprint will do. So where people will mostly see releases like The Keep and, you know, the Space Vampire one, and will be hugely critical of them for their collector set essence, and they're so extremely overpriced whilst having no contrasting smaller price stuff. Like, there's no standard 4K of The Keep. They're not doing that. Like, Neverending Story, if you want anything that's cheaper than the big book, that isn't the steelbook that came out, that was only announced like a year and a half later, they released the film on DVD. Now, this could be a rights thing. This could be a, hey, we don't have the rights to actually release the Blu-ray of the film, but we can do a DVD and a 4K. Because sometimes some films actually have rights for all 3 films. And that could be it. Again, Dune, they had done a DVD set, and then they did a Blu-ray set, and now they've done a 4K set. I think that's just natural progressive evolution. Those other sets all sold out, so now they can do the big set. The Keep, on the other hand, they did a DVD, and it went straight to 4K. There's not even a Blu-ray in that set. I mean, I think that there is. Is there? I'm pretty sure that there is, but still. I mean, even Vinegar Syndrome had a 4K Blu-ray. And it's just, it's annoying as a standard, if you want to be a standard consumer, a regular person who doesn't have a cajillion dollars for these fucking films, or saves $200 to $300 a month for one really big limited edition, or for just Blu-rays in general, and then you see this one set, or you can get all these other films for cheaper. And you're always going to go, usually, for the cheaper option. I used to do that when I started collecting. My habits were, hey, either I spend a lot of money on one thing, or I spend all that money on several things. Say I had $100, do I buy one film out of it, or do I spend it on like 4 to 5 films? And I always went for the multiple option because it was better for my money, you know? Even if I don't like half of what I'm buying, it's better than spending that amount of money on just one product. Like, that's why I stopped buying steelbooks and other collector sets occasionally, because it was like, I don't need to get them when I can use that money on other things. And so that's my main criticism when it comes to Imprint. Unless they're limited edition sets, which are usually 1,000 to 2,000 units, sometimes middle ground 1,500, when they sell out, sometimes, and usually they'll indicate if there's not going to be a standard version, sometimes they will do a standard release. Sometimes. But not always. Like, I had to get the World of Susie Wong because a friend of mine had produced special features on it, even though there's no credit to him whatsoever, and I had to go on eBay to buy that for like $150, which was almost double the fucking retail price. They have never done a solo release of that. They've never done a standard one. There are so many films that they have done standard releases for, but it's almost like 1 in 10 sets. 1 in 10 sets will get a standard release and will be a basic slipcover. And I'm like, how do they decide that? Do you have to wait until the limited edition sells out, and if it doesn't sell out, you don't worry about it? Or if it does sell out, but it's after like a 2-year period, you've lost like the right to produce a standard Blu-ray? Like, if a film sells quick enough, then they can do like, bam, we're going to do a standard release within, like, say, a couple months, within a 6-month to a year period, then yeah, that gives you enough inclination that people really want this. We should do a standard version, and we can still sell it because we're in this window where we can still produce a standard version. And that's what I think with a lot of their releases, is that if things don't sell out, especially from the website, because that's usually a good indicator, if it doesn't sell out the website, it won't sell out at all. They don't have much to compare it with, but if things do sell out, then yeah. So for something like The Never-Ending Story, it finally getting a standard release, it is the lackluster version of what you'd want. Instead of it being, hey, you know how that big gigantic booklet, when you open it up, it came with a tiny little standard case inside with a lenticular and then a slip, and then it came with the 4 discs, 2 4Ks, 2 Blu-rays? Well, guess what? We're not releasing that as the standard version. We're going to give you a steelbook with a slipcover, but we're going to give you only 3 of the discs, not 4 of them. So no double UHD, just 1 UHD. And I don't know. Like, that's, as for someone like me who actually wanted to buy that film, who watched it on a streaming platform in the end, and was like, yeah, thank God I didn't spend $250 fucking dollars on this. Holy shit. Like, I didn't grow up with that film. You know, I don't have that reception that a lot of people do for the 80s in general, so I don't have that appreciation for the film. So I didn't buy it. I bought its sequel for $1 at an op shop on DVD, and that was not good. In contrast, it was much, much worse. But for $1, fine. So it's just... Oh, I just realized Wolf Creek's actually over there. It's very disappointing as someone who likes to support, especially local boutique brands, especially like Australian audiences who want these films, who, if they really want to buy these films, half the time have to import from the UK or the US, or even Germany. And it's just, or fucking China. They have to get bootlegs just to get half the films that they want. And you get brands who do such amazing, like, Umbrella does amazing restorations and has, like, great set designs, all kinds of crazy shit. Imprint, I wouldn't say does great restorations, because they rarely ever do restorations. Some of the restorations that they have done have been quite nice, but most of the time it's, hey, we can only get this transfer that's already available from a different company. I wouldn't be surprised if when the Keep comes out, you watch at the very end of the credits and it has a Vinegar Syndrome logo. I would not be surprised. It's not uncommon. It's not uncommon for Australian Blu-rays in general to eventually get prints that were only done in the US, you know, or the UK. I know that Umbrella had done a release of The Blob. They did a 2-pack limited edition release. I didn't even know it was a limited edition. I just bought it because I wanted The Blob. Came with both, actually 3 films. It came with the standard definition of Son of the Blob. Piece of shit film, by the way. But it came with the 1958 Blob, and it came with the 1988 Blob. Wonderful films. However, the 1958 version is the Criterion version. That's why it was a limited edition set. They can only do a certain number of them with that disc. But ever since then, the standard version is just the 80s film. Which, to be fair, good. But as someone who has also since bought the Scream Factory version for the 80s film, because I wanted it in a higher quality, yeah. So, all I'd really need to do is buy the 50s Blob on the cheap from Criterion, like find a cheap version on eBay or something, if that's even possible. Then I'd get rid of my Umbrella one. But so far, I'm not going to do that. So... my, I think, roundup overall kind of nature to this is that it is just disappointing to see these sets coming to light, and the fact that there are more and more of them. Like, Imprint is already releasing a lot of stuff. They're already doing their monthly stuff for Imprint, their monthly stuff for Viavision, because it's Viavision's the home brand. That's the big boy. And then they'll do these random limited edition monolith sets that I would define them as monolith sets because they're usually fucking huge and also hugely expensive. And that's been so far once every 2 or 3 months now. Like, it's crazy how many they've just announced within the past 6 months alone of these gigantic sets. And it's just disappointing to see. Like, it's good for them, sure. If they make the fucking bank out of it, they make bank. Great. Good for them. But as a consumer, I have to look at it as a very different angle. Like, I want the company to succeed in terms of making physical media because we want physical media, especially locally. But I can be equally critical as a consumer, being like, I want this physical media, but I don't want to spend $200 fucking on it for one movie. So, yeah, that's why I haven't bought a single one of these box sets, because I have no interest in any of them. Like, the Keep still interests me just a bit, but the problem is, I already have the Vinegar Syndrome one. I bought that the day it was announced, because I was going to get that film on 4K, because I like that film. And when Imprint were teasing their release date for the film, for the big announcement of the whole set, they were releasing it using images from a version that doesn't exist of the movie, and then they didn't actually showcase that version of the movie. They've just given us the theatrical cut. So, and again, for $200. Look, it's disappointing that Imprint's doing this, just because they're not doing standard editions. If they did standard editions, people would go fucking hotcakes for that shit. But they're not doing that. And it makes everyone very critical of them, including myself. Like, I'm not going to be critical of them just because I buy from them and because I know people who work there. I can be fucking on both sides of the park here. Like, if they're going to ask me what my opinion would be, it would be, do a standard release, or at least tell us why you can't do a standard release. Make an announcement post or something. Be like, hey, this is the only version we're allowed to make for the time being. We have to sell a certain amount of these units to do that. The thing is, they don't do that. They don't talk to the customers. They don't have that kind of reputation. Umbrella have more of that reputation. You know, they'll be more honest with certain details. Not all the time, but at least some of the time. You know, so, and I know, again, people who work for Umbrella. So, I know people who are able to get I know so many people in the industry, it's crazy. But because a lot of people I know are like film historians and stuff, they work either directly on the sets, or I just know people who work at the companies. Again, I don't get any of their stuff. They never send me anything. I don't get freebies. It doesn't matter how many videos I do praising their stuff. They never give me shit, so I don't need to give them praise. I can give them as much flack as they basically give me by ignoring me. Like, sure, they'll share a post that share a story that I've posted on fucking Instagram. But outside of that, I mean nothing to them. I'm just something that gives them money. Just like you are. We're just things that give them money. I just put my face on a camera and hope that people listen. So, yeah, that's just would be my option for Imprint. You either give more clarity and be more open to your customers as to why you're doing this extremely expensive set and not telling anyone anything else, or you just do standard releases. For the love of fucking God, do standard releases. If you can do it for your slipcover variants of stuff, where obviously after due time, if they don't sell enough product, you don't do a standard release. But if you do a standard release, great, wonderful, love it. Everyone likes that stuff, even though it takes fucking forever for them to do standard releases. Holy shit. Some of their out-of-print slipcovers took 2 or 3 more years before a standard release was eventually released, which fucking boggles my mind. So, I don't know how their system works. I have to make so many assumptions for it. But for these gigantic sets, just do a standard release. Oh my god. Do a standard version of the Keep. A standard 4K and a standard Keep case. It's not hard. People will buy that. Even if it's $60, people are going to fucking buy it. Especially Australian people. Especially people who are fans of Michael Mann. I have so many fucking friends who would love to buy that Keep set. but they're not going to spend that much money on it because we have a economic crisis on our hands right now. People can't afford these gigantic box sets. And think of people in other countries, in the UK, in America, anywhere outside of Australia, have to import it. And that's even more expensive. I can't imagine what it's like to live in America right now. It's just nightmares, hell, and expensive shit, all run by a fucking lunatic. So it would just benefit everyone if there was a standard fucking cheaper version available and not a goddamn DVD, for the love of fuck. I'm not buying that Neverending Story on DVD. Like, I know it's a kid's film, but for the love of shit, it's not hard. Anyway, that's my thoughts. Let me know your thoughts down below. I can definitely agree. I definitely know that a lot of people will agree with me on this, that they should do standard versions. If their limited editions are going to be this expensive, do a standard release and people won't really bat an eye, because then they'll know collectors will buy the big stuff. They'll buy the really expensive stuff because they really want that shit. But then the standard people will be able to buy just regular shit, you know? So yeah. Anyway, that's all. Let me know your thoughts down below, and I'll see you kids next time. Adios.